What you need to know about snow removal over spring break.
How students can get the New York Times for free.
And how the 2020 presidential campaign is shaping up.
You're watching Bison Information Network News. With spring break beginning this weekend, students should expect closures in Building 12th until March 16th. NDSU will not be holding classes. Office hours may vary by building. The Memorial Union will be open Monday through Friday during break from 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. The NDSU Main Library will be open Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And on Friday, March 8th, Residence Dining Center and Union Dining Center will close at 2:30 p.m. and West Dining Center will close at 3:30. All three of these dining centers will be closed for the remainder of spring break, with Residence Dining Center opening back up from 4 to 9 p.m. on Sunday, March 17th.
Earlier today, NDSU officially announced it will support a $50 million research facility named the Challey Institute. The main focus of the institute will be to incentivize the new discovery and service to the region. This facility will also aim to study questions such as how do global innovation, trade, and institutions advance human potential. Funding is 3/5 completed as philanthropic support has been overwhelming.
With spring break just around the corner for NDSU students, the university's parking and transportation services will clear the snow and ice out of select campus parking lots starting next week. The lots affected include the HR, FA, BC, SF, IFC, Bergam, T, and the south end of the R lot. All vehicles must be removed from those lots by 6 a.m. Monday to allow for work to begin. Students choosing to remain parked on campus can move their cars to the north end of the R lot at the corner of 17th Avenue and Albrecht Boulevard as long as a current parking permit is shown. Failure to remove a vehicle from an affected lot will result in the vehicle getting towed, and fees range from $35 to $60.
The Grand Forks County Sheriff's Office is warning people about a new scam directed at Xcel Energy customers in the region. Customers are called from a North Dakota-based phone telling them they need to pay immediately or they will have their electricity shut off. The caller reportedly has a foreign accent, and when called back, a message similar to Xcel Energy's is played. A few things to know about Xcel Energy if you do get a suspicious call. Xcel Energy will never ask you to pay with a prepaid card, and they always send out notices through mail prior to service disconnections.
Racist posters circulated through the Roosevelt neighborhood in North Fargo earlier today. Shown prominently on each poster, the message, "All crimes are hoaxes," accompanied by pictures of famous African-American media figures alongside a noose and a bottle of bleach. The posters were reportedly set up through the neighborhood last night by small groups of white men who follow a neo-Nazi website. Roosevelt residents were alarmed by the posters but were not interested in giving the groups the reaction they were looking for.
And now we'll go to Noah Smith for our weekend weather update. Noah?
Right now, it's about 10 degrees with a low of 6. There is a 10% chance of snow, a humidity of 70, and winds are about 11 miles per hour. We're going to look at the 7-day forecast now. It's going to be a little bit warmer on tomorrow, Friday. 26 is the high, 20 is the low. Saturday, we're looking for maybe about 8 inches of snow. Possibly blowing snow also, so stay safe driving out there. High of 30, high of 20 on Sunday, but a low of 2. Monday, starting to get warmer again. 24 is the high, 14 is the low. And then we're going to start seeing some more snow in the later ends of the week. 34 is the high, 37 Wednesday, and 33 Thursday. Back to you guys.
Coming up, how students can access the New York Times for free. Governor Doug Burgum signs his first bill of 2019.
And how the 2020 presidential campaign is shaping up when we come back.
Students and staff across campus now have free access to the New York Times. To sign up, students can go to accessnyt.com to create their free New York Times account. The New York Times offers more than just daily news. Students can take advantage of the site's podcasts, videos, newsletters, and even archives dating back to the early 1900s. Bison Information Network reporter Noah Smith sat down with the student body president and vice president to hear more on why this access is important for students.
That students are getting that factual information, and the New York Times can provide that for students, and so that's why I see it as so important for students.
I see so many of my friends getting what they see as valid information from social media or like potentially a meme, something like that. And this is really a way to kind of combat that. I mean, this is an incredibly reputable and well-respected news source that usually costs money per month that we're able to provide for the students.
When first signing up, you must be on NDSU's Campus Wireless, but after that, the site can be accessed anywhere in the world. For those graduating this spring, you will continue to have access to your account until the fall of next year.
Governor Doug Burgum signed his first bill of the 2019 legislative session, removing mandatory minimum sentences for certain drug-related offenses. The House Bill 1183 will remove the mandatory minimum sentencing requirement for repeat offenders, although the bill will not change the classification of the conviction. The House passed the bill by an 81-9 vote, and the Senate passed it 44-1. The bill goes into effect August 1st of 2019.
High school seniors had the chance to visit NDSU's campus last Friday. All of these students have already been accepted to attend NDSU. Discover NDSU is an event targeted to try and get high school students to attend NDSU. Each student was given a tour of the campus as well as a more specialized tour of their potential field of study. Every department was encouraged to have a demonstration or something to show the potential new students. The day was finished off by lunch provided by NDSU.
28 years after the author's death, publishing company Random House is set to release a new Dr. Seuss book this September. The book, Dr. Seuss's Horse Museum, is a celebration of art and how we all see the world in different ways. The manuscript was discovered in the author's home 21 years after his death. The book was completed by Andrew Joyner with Dr. Seuss's original sketches and inspiration from his past works. Susan Brandt, president of Dr. Seuss Enterprises, says they are excited to share Dr. Seuss's Horse Museum with readers. The announcement of the book, which will feature reproductions of famous horse artwork by Jackson Pollock and Pablo Picasso, is a great way to celebrate Dr. Seuss's birthday. On March 2nd, Dr. Seuss would have turned 115. The posthumous release of Dr. Seuss's What Pet Should I Get became a #1 New York Times bestseller in 2015.
Former Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper is the latest to throw in his hat to the presidential ring. He's the 12th major Democrat to enter the race for 2020. Hickenlooper, going where few of his fellow Democrats are willing to go, mentioning President Trump by name. Jeff Delaney has more on why the other candidates are doing their best to avoid taking on the president.
In the opening round of the Democratic primary, one name is often going unspoken.
We got to beat that person in the White House.
Never mind that the 2020 presidential race revolves almost entirely around that person, though you seldom hear the words Donald Trump from those eyeing his job.
I think that, in some ways, is the biggest punishment to the guy who always wants to be in the spotlight, is just turn the spotlight off.
Turning off or dimming Trump's spotlight may be easier said than done, considering how he looms over today's politics and how eager he is to shape the Democratic primary.
I just want to be the Republican that runs against them. Could that
Most Democratic candidates are still finding their way navigating Trump, searching for a balance between showing strength and not taking the bait. Even Senator Bernie Sanders, who calls out the president by name more than any of his rivals, has this message on the campaign trail.
This struggle is not just about defeating Donald Trump.
While Democrats have spent more than 2 years rallying against the president,
Donald Trump has got to go!
It's striking how little his name comes up on the campaign trail, where candidates say simply going after Trump would get in the way of introducing themselves and defining their candidacies.
We have got to understand this is not about him, it's about us, and we should be motivated not by what we're against, but by what we are for as a country. Okay?
Senator Cory Booker is choosing the high road over the hammer.
One name I noticed you didn't mention was President Trump.
Look, it's not about what we're against, it's got to be about what we're for as a country. He clearly, this election is an urgency to make sure he's not the president after 2020.
But you don't even mention his name. You call him he or that president.
Look, it's about justice. It's about unity. It's about bringing our country together.
The argument Senator Kamala Harris is making against Trump is a bit more subtle, using it as an opening to remind voters of her career as a prosecutor.
I plan on prosecuting the case against people who do not tell the truth and who are purveyors of injustice in this country.
It's Senator Elizabeth Warren who has felt Trump's sting more than all Democratic hopefuls, including this attack over the weekend.
I should have saved the Pocahontas thing for another year.
She says she's not afraid of standing up to him, but she's also trying to avoid distraction.
Never let bullies run over you, but we've got to get out there and talk about what we believe in.
One Democrat who isn't running for the White House next year is Hillary Clinton.
The former First Lady told News 12 Westchester that she is, quote, not running, but I'm going to keep on working and speaking and standing up for what I believe. Stay tuned for a new way to treat untreatable depression.
And how the tapestry in the Memorial Union signifies diversity at NDSU. We'll be right back.
Men's intramural basketball season is coming to a close and the championship game is almost here. For the first time, the championship game will be held in the Shields Center, where the Bison basketball teams play their home games. This is not the only intramural championship taking the floor at the same place the Bison do, as women's volleyball will have their championship game in the Benson Bunker Fieldhouse with regulation courts.
The NDSU Explore Showcase of Undergraduate Research and Creative Activity registration is closing soon. The annual event brings together students from all disciplines to present their research and creative work. Students can make a poster, give an oral presentation, and use other formats. NDSU Explore gives students the opportunity to share their research or creative work, gain experience in research and presenting that research, as well as learning skills to help jumpstart a career. For more information on how to register, you can visit www.ndsu.edu/research/explore.
Last month was dreary at the box office, the worst February for ticket sales in 17 years. Luckily, however, there's a superhero on the way to turn things around. David Daniel has more.
You ready? Higher, further, faster, baby. That's right.
Here she comes to save the day. Brie Larson is Marvel's first female superhero with her own movie. And Captain Marvel, the weekend's only new wide release, is set to soar. Forecasters expect a debut weekend of $125 million or more. That would easily be the best opening weekend of the year so far, and the best debut for a standalone superhero film since Black Panther last year. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
The NDSU Tapestry of Diverse Talent honors 2 members of the NDSU community. The Tapestry of Diversity is a program organized by the Student Activities Office, and it's conducted its annual ceremony on February 27th. Carol Jurgensen, Assistant Director for the Residential Education, and Moshen Nassab, doctoral candidate from Civil and Environmental Engineering, were recognized for their commitment to diversity locally and internationally. They each received a tapestry which was added to the collection. Moshen, who is originally from Iran, says he is very passionate about diversity.
Passion for diversity stems from my childhood. Because of my father's job, we used to move from one city to another city every 3 to 4 years. When I was a kid, this was not easy to say goodbye to all of those friends that I had been making for 4 years. But these constant movements gave me the golden opportunity that I cherish every single day of my life.
Each year, individuals are inducted into the tapestry. They are selected for their work, activities, passion, and projects related to diversity.
A new drug by Janssen Pharmaceuticals has just been approved to help those that battle depression but haven't had success with other treatments. But the nasal spray comes with a big warning label. Meredith Wood explains in today's Health Minute.
Millions of people suffer from depression, but approximately 1/3 of those suffering from major depression are considered treatment resistant, meaning nothing works. Well, help and hope may be on the way. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration just approved the second ever drug and first one in a decade to treat those with treatment-resistant depression. The drug is Spravato, and it contains esketamine, the chemical cousin of ketamine, a powerful anesthetic which is used illegally as the club drug Special K. It's administered as a nasal spray and is fast-acting, a welcome change when other treatments like Prozac can take weeks or months to work.
All our previous antidepressants work by serotonin or norepinephrine. This mechanism is completely novel. It works on the NMDA receptor and turns on what we think are some long-term synaptic changes.
Side effects range from dizziness and lethargy to feeling drunk and temporarily disconnected from your body and mind. Because of its potency and potential for abuse, the drug will not be sent home with patients. It will be administered at the doctor's office, and patients will be monitored for at least 2 hours afterwards. For today's Health Minute, I'm Meredith Wood.
NDSU's soil health team held a workshop sharing the latest research on grazing cover crops Monday. NDSU Extension Range Land Management Specialist Kevin Sedovic stated they will focus on the impacts on the soil and livestock, incorporating alfalfa management and mapping lands using alternative land management strategies. Other topics at the workshop included stocking rates, manure management, and multi-species forage mixes for haying and grazing.
Coming up after the break, we're going to have our sports update.
What do you have for us today, Joe?
Well, today we're going to look at a little bit of a preview for the first games of NDSU men's and women's basketball in the Summit League tournament. We're also going to look at what's going on with NDSU baseball and softball, and we'll also take a look at the NHL and NBA standings when we come back. 13.4 points per game in league play. He also shot 39% from three and shot 83% from the free throw line. Vinny joins Lawrence Alexander as the only other Bison to win the award. Alexander won the award in 2009. While most NDSU students will be heading to here and there this spring break, the NDSU men's and women's basketball team will be competing in the Summit League tournament in Sioux Falls. The women will be the first of the Bison teams to play in the tournament. That game is on March 9th at 2:30 p.m. against the Coyotes of the University of South Dakota. As for the men, they play the very next day on March 10th. They will be taking on the Mastodons of Purdue Fort Wayne at 6:30 p.m. at the Denny Center. You can watch both of these games on either ESPN3 or via Midcoast Sports. The 2018-19 season has been a bit of a rough start for the NDSU baseball team. They have lost 8 out of their first 10 games, and the 3 that they were supposed to play were canceled due to the weather. Fortunately for them, they thought they were going to get a chance to right the ship as they head down to Mississippi Valley State in a 4-game series, until that series got canceled as well due to the weather. And with the upcoming game against the Nebraska Cornhuskers is also postponed, their next game won't be until March 15th when they take on Omaha at 4 p.m. Meanwhile, the NDSU softball team is well into their season as well, and while they post a winning record, they aren't showing the same amount of confidence either to start the season. The Bison have had their share of ups and downs, going 9-8 to begin the campaign. What is nice about their upcoming schedule is that they're spending a lot of time in Florida for the Florida Invitational in Miami and Boca Raton. There they will play a variety of teams, from relatively small teams such as Illinois State to major teams such as Notre Dame. The game against the Redbirds is scheduled for tomorrow at 10 a.m. down in Miami. NDSU Athletic Director Matt Larson was recently named one of the 4 FCS athletic directors to win the Under Armour AD of the Year. The award was granted by the National Association of Collegiate Directors of Athletics, which picks from 28 athletic directors across all divisions for their efforts towards student athletes, campuses, and communities. Larson helped commit the university to fully fund all 16 of its sports with scholarship fund increases, and also helped facilitate 2 new facilities upgrades in the past year for men's and women's golf and the softball teams. Larson will be honored for his efforts at a convention in Orlando, Florida in June. As we move further and further into spring, it means that the NHL season is nearing its home stretch. There are a multitude of teams that can clinch a playoff spot today, and others that are fighting to keep their postseason hopes alive. Taking a look at the Eastern Conference, the top team by a long shot is the Tampa Bay Lightning. They are followed by the Boston Bruins, Toronto Maple Leafs, and the defending Stanley Cup champion Washington Capitals. Rounding out the top 8, we have the New York Islanders at number 5, the Carolina Hurricanes, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Montreal Canadiens. Over in the Western Conference, the Calgary Flames hold on to the current top spot. They are followed by the San Jose Sharks, the Nashville Predators, the Winnipeg Jets, and the Vegas Golden Knights. Rounding out the top 8 in the West, the St. Louis Blues are number 6. In the 7th spot, we have the Dallas Stars, and currently in 8th is the Minnesota Wild. Along with the NHL season nearing its end, the NBA season is also heading towards its end and into the playoffs. While there are some new teams and players ready to make their mark, this might also mean the first time in well over a decade that LeBron James won't be in the playoffs. The Lakers are currently 6.5 games behind the 8th-seeded Los Angeles Clippers, causing some discomfort in the City of Angels. In the rest of the West, we have the Golden State Warriors once again locking down the top spot. They are followed by the Denver Nuggets, the Houston Rockets, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Portland Trail Blazers. The 6th and 7th seeds currently belong to the Utah Jazz and San Antonio Spurs. In the Eastern Conference, it is still very top-heavy, with the top 2 spots being held by the Milwaukee Bucks and the Toronto Raptors. Moving right on down, we have the Indiana Pacers in the 3 seed, followed by the Philadelphia Sixers and the Boston Celtics. The 6th and 7th seeds are currently held by the Detroit Pistons and Brooklyn Nets, and the 8th seed is currently held by the Miami Heat, who have a losing record at 30-34 on the season. Now guys, since it's March, and March Madness is just right around the corner with all the tournaments happening, are you guys going to fill out a bracket this year? And do you have any idea, once the brackets are selected, who's going to win?
You know, I'm gonna probably fill one out. I'm usually in a pool with my dad's work. I'm gonna definitely fill one out for them, and I'm probably gonna pick Duke with all the talent they have this year.
I have never filled out a bracket, and I will probably keep that tradition. But thanks, Joe. When we come back, we will have this week's Bison on the Street.
Spring break is around the corner, and students are packing up, ready to leave the cold weather behind for warmer skies.
Bison Information Network reporter Tristan Dakota went to find out students' plans for the spring break on this week's Bison on the Street.
San Diego the first half and Arizona for a festival the second half. This year for spring break, my friends and I are going to Boulder, Colorado to kind of do like hiking and skiing and stuff like that, just like a super chill, relaxing spring break.
I'm actually going out west, Wyoming, snowmobiling with some friends. So yeah, looking forward to that.
My plans for this year's spring break is to hang out at home, with my family, watch some movies, have a good time.
This year I'm going to Austin, Texas to see my best friend Mackenzie. We're going to do like a wine tour and just like see the Austin nightlife, and then I'm going to go down to South Padre for a couple days.
My spring break will not be quite so warm. I am planning on taking a trip up to the Boundary Waters in northern Minnesota, just camping, a little bit of fishing, whatever, hiking, solo I've done the last few years.
We're going to Italy.
Yep, we're going to Europe.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to Amsterdam and then Rome, Barcelona, and Florence.
Well, I'm going to be break RE, so I'm just going to be staying around campus and kind of just chilling.
Thank you for watching this edition of Bison Information Network News.
Be sure to check us out on Facebook and our YouTube channel.
And catch us back here next Thursday night. Have a great night, everyone.